Hey, this is Adam Torres, and I'm here to tell you that it has never been easier to start your very own podcast. At Mission Matters, our goal is to amplify stories that matter. That means we want to help you start your podcast because your story matters. We can do this in 3 different ways. 1, join our podcast school and take a free or paid course. 2, visit our resources page where we've already figured out what you need, such as where to host your podcast. Or 3, heck, we can even do everything for you through our podcast agency, including editing for cheaper than you can do in-house. Oh, and no contract, services month to month. Get started by heading over to missionmatters.com and click on Start a Podcast. All right, now let's get into the show. Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Mission Matters Money Podcast, your source for all things money. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at Ask Adam Torres to keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Judy DeFeo on the line, and she's founder and CEO over at Jade Financial Solutions. Judy, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Adam. Thanks for having me.
All right, so this is a hot topic today. A lot of business owners, entrepreneurs, executives listen to this show, and cash flow forecasting, which I know you and your company are experts at, it's a big deal. It's a big way that helps businesses be able to grow, and we're going to go into that further. But before we do, just to give the audience a little bit of an overview, tell us a little bit more about your company, Jade Financial Solutions, please.
Sure. So we've been in business for about 15 years, and we provide bookkeeping, accounting, and CFO services. So we're not your traditional accounting firm. We don't do any tax prep. We work very closely with our clients' tax preparers so that they have a complete solution. But we're focusing on the day-to-day and the numbers to help our clients grow their business. So we want to make sure that the day-to-day accounting is done right and that we can slice and dice those numbers so that they can use the data to make good business decisions.
That's awesome. And, just at the end of this, I'm going to give you the opportunity to leave your website or social media or wherever really is best for somebody to follow up with you. But I want to make sure that the right types of companies and or individuals do connect. So what's typically do you find a good fit for you in terms of to work with you and your team?
So a small business that we have worked with startups as well, but typically clients come to us, they're a couple of years in business and their books are a mess or they're not getting what they want from their accountant or bookkeeper. In fact, the last 3 clients were working with another firm and all had the same complaint. They were paying for, these virtual CFO services and they were just getting the basics. So they didn't really have the higher level data that they needed to make good business decisions. So anybody who, it's all small businesses. Our clients are typically between, 500,000 in revenue to maybe, 25, 30 million in revenue. All clients are using QuickBooks. So anyone who really wants to understand their numbers and use it to make business decisions. We have clients in many different industries. We do have a particular niche in manufacturers because we have a great expertise here in inventory. So we do a lot of that, but we have other clients as well. We have, service providers, medical attorneys, manufacturers, as I said. We don't have restaurants, which is a very good thing right now for us.
Mm-hmm. So, and that's a great transition. So I do want to jump into today's topic. So, cash flow forecasting, and and I like that you mentioned that how a lot of clients come to you because maybe they're looking at the basics and then they maybe outgrow the basics, right? So where do you want to start with this topic? I mean, because it's a big one.
Well, I guess we'll start, like you said, at the basics. So. Before we started getting into projections and offering out, what we'll call our CFO packages, we did, as many other firms do, we reconcile our clients' accounts, We pay bills for some of our clients. We create customer invoices. We may even do some collections for them. And we're posting all the transactions in QuickBooks, and we're making sure that everything is categorized to the correct account. And each month we'll go over with our clients the profit and loss statement and the balance sheet. And that's great. It's all good information. You need to have that. But it's old information already. So if it's August 15th and I'm reconciling, or, anytime in August, I'm reconciling for the month before, that's historical. It's already happened. Great information. We need to know what happened. We need to compare it to what budget we had put in place at the beginning of the year. But that doesn't give us anything for moving forward. So when we work with our clients now, we go over goals. So the first thing is, what is your goal? Do you want to be a $3 million company? Do you want to be a $10 million company? Do you want to sell next year and, get your books in order for that? What are the goals? And then we work towards that. And one of the big pieces is cash flow. And especially now, over the last few months, everyone wants to know what their cash flow projections are, because they've been given these loans, either the PPP or the EIDL, and some businesses are still struggling. Not every business is, probably more businesses are still struggling a bit, and they have these loans and they need to know how long the cash is going to last. Another example would be a startup or any company that goes out and gets funding or investor money. So take a manufacturer of food or any manufacturer, startup. Somebody gives them, $100,000, $500,000, whatever it is. They have to go out and buy all these materials to make the product. How long is that going to last? How much product can they make for this money before they have to go back and ask for more? So there's a lot of, even within the cash flow projections, there's a lot of different ways you can look at it. One of the things that we like to do with our clients, especially our established businesses, is when we're looking at cash flow projections, we do some if-then scenarios. So if your customers paid you in 15 days versus 30 days or plus, what does that do to your cash flow? You have more money in your pocket sooner. Conversely, what if you pay your vendors in 30 days or more instead of immediately or 15 days? Again, you hold on to your money longer. That's your cash in the bank. So we look at different ways, and we determine, we try and implement change, and a lot of it's behavioral, and it's not easy. It's not an easy process. It's easy for us to come up with the numbers, but it's not easy to always implement that change. It's hard.
Absolutely. And so where do you find, and I don't, obviously every company is going to be different, right? Size of company, whether it's manufacturing, whether it's something else. But I know that you've been doing this a long time, and so you've brought on many different types of clients from many industries. Where do you find where do you find people make those that are not working with a company like yours are typically making those errors in kind of this game plan? I'm going to call it a game plan of cash flow forecasting that allows them to make better decisions. Because I feel like there's people listening to this right now that they've thought about it, they maybe dipped their foot in the water, but they're not, or maybe they used a service that wasn't quite as in depth as yours, so they don't get it yet, and I'm trying to inch them over there because I know what you do is powerful. So where do you find maybe some of those mistakes are?
So there's a few different industries that come to mind. Let's talk about contractors first. They go to Home Depot. Sometimes they pay cash, sometimes they pay credit card, whatever. They just buy. They're not, sometimes there's a plan, okay, they're building a house, they have to buy these materials. They're constantly buying, they come back to the office, they dump out a bunch of receipts. Maybe somebody's matching those receipts up to a project, maybe they're not. If you're not matching them up to a project, and I'm kind of getting now, it's going to wind up talking about job costing if I go too far into with the contractors. But you need to be able to manage the project. When you manage the project, you can manage your spending. So if you just come and you dump off these receipts, and I bought all these supplies, or I bought all this inventory, and you don't know what it's supposed to be applied to, you're losing cash. It's just leaking right out the door. You know, and if you think about a manufacturer as well, think about e-commerce. You know how many fees Amazon takes out? Some people have no idea what they're paying in fees. So you have to drill down on those expenses as well. You may think you're selling your item for, $25, but how much of that $25 is really going into your pocket versus the fees? So
yeah, it's a thing. And I'm glad you brought up those examples, and I was hoping you would give me something like super tangible, which you did deliver, because I know there's some people listening right now that are like, they might be in their office and they're looking at their other co-founder or whoever else. They're like, how much is Amazon getting? Or are we doing this? Or are we, you know what I mean? Like, I find like some people are motivated by that little bit of pain, and I think you caused it.
Exactly. So, well, I don't mean to cause pain, but we find so much because we don't just look at, the net number that comes into the bank. We're pulling it apart. We're looking at the actual, you go on Amazon, Sell Essential, there's all sorts of reports you can pull from that. If you dig really deep, you can get to the nth degree there and see, and we have shocked some of our business owners on what they're paying. And a lot of companies now are selling in different countries as well. So now you have another layer of fees, exchange rates, things like that. And it's hidden, it just is. It's hidden. So if you're not looking at those reports, you're not going to know your profitability, and you're not going to be able to project out your cash. You're just not going to know. You think you're selling it for a certain amount. You think you're making a profit, but when you see what some of the sellers like Amazon take out, it's a big hit.
So, Judy, if somebody's listening to this and they want more information or they want to connect with you and your team, what's the best way for them to do that?
Best way is they can reach out to me on my website. There's a contact there. You can call. You can send a message there. It'll go through my email. Either way, it's good.
Fantastic. And what's the website again?
It is jadefs.com. So that's J-A, D as in David, D as in David again, E, F as in Frank, S as in Sam, .com. I know it's a tongue twister there.
And let's do it one more time, just because I know they were grabbing their pen, they're getting ready, they're like, oh boy, she left the website. Give it to us one more time, Judy.
And it's www.jad as in David, D as in David again, E, F as in Frank, S as in Sam, .com.
Fantastic. Well, Judy, really appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing more about your background and all the great work you're doing over at J Financial Solutions. So great stuff there. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, leave me a review on the iTunes store. And if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, Mission Matters Money, definitely give us a subscribe there, but also leave us some comments on the video. Love to know what kind of projects and things that you're working on. And Judy, thanks again for coming on the show.
You're very welcome, Adam. Thanks again. Appreciate it.